Hello and welcome to Stalking the Stork. Welcome back to my channel. If you're wondering why I'm in the same place with the same clothes as my last video, it's because I'm filming it in the same day, in the same place, basically at the same time. That's because A, I just didn't want to wait till I got home to do it, and B, my life's a mess. My house is a mess, my life's a mess, my work's a mess, but hey, the lighting is okay here, and there's nobody around, and I don't have to worry about Layla running in. So, yeah. Anyway, so I told you that I was gonna do the names that I love but won't be using video. I've seen a bajillion of these. I have cracked out on them. I'm checking everybody's YouTube channels for names that they love and won't be using because I love baby names. I am obsessed with thinking about names that will go with our family, that will go with Layla's name, and I obsess about having a little baby running around possibly with that name, and it just, yeah. I'm feeding my obsession, people. So I'm hopping on the wagon. I'm not pregnant yet. I'm not sure when I'll be pregnant, but I want to talk about baby names. So I have 5 boy names and 5 girl names, and then I have like a wild card of each name because they're very similar of names that we love. There are different reasons that I love these names and different reasons why we won't use them. I'll go into that. But yeah, a lot of it is just Jimmy. He doesn't like a lot of the same names I like. I will preface this with a little story about how we came up with Layla's name. Jimmy and I have very different tastes. He likes kind of normal-ish names, you know, like Jennifer and Rebecca and Jonathan and things like that. You know, they're great names, but I know 100 people with those names, and I like names that are different. I like names that are a little bit more unique, but not so out there, that people are gonna look at me and go, what? Although some of the names that I really do like are like that, and I generally don't care. It just then becomes difficult because if Jimmy doesn't like it, then we can't really use it because it would be our baby, not just my baby. So with Layla, we had a really difficult time. Originally, if we had had a girl, we were going to name her with the middle name Teresa, and that's because my middle name is Teresa, my aunt's middle name is Teresa, and my aunt's mother, my grandmother, her middle name is Teresa, and I wanted to pass that down. But I don't really like the name Teresa, maybe because there's so many Teresa middle names in my family. So I didn't go with that, and Layla's middle name is Blue, like the color, and part of that is from the band Blue October. They have a song called Blue Does, and I can link that down below. When I was pregnant, before I knew what we were having, I listened to the song just on accident. I used to skip it on the CD all the time because it's a slow, sweet lullaby, but for some reason I didn't skip it, and I actually listened to the words and I bawled my eyes out. And here it's a song that the lead singer Justin Furstenfeld wrote for his daughter, whose first name is Blue. And it's a lullaby he used to sing to her. So, you know, I love Blue October. They're a very important band to me. They're very important in our lives and our relationship, and I wanted that song to be her song if I had had a girl. So I told Jimmy, I said, you don't have a choice. Whatever our daughter, if we have a girl, whatever her name is going to be, her middle name is going to be Blue. So that this can be our song. And he was fine with that. So then we had like a hard time coming up with names that we both liked, and we're shooting around a lot of different things. We had almost settled on Riley. I liked the name, he liked the name, everybody in the family liked the name, but I wasn't sold on it 100% because I knew there were a lot of Rileys. So then one day I'm listening to music. We're in the bedroom, I'm on the computer listening to music, he's playing a game or something, and there's another band called Flyleaf, and they have a song, and in the beginning of the song she says, "Telling Layla's story spoken." And so I thought in my head, Layla, that's a pretty name, I like that name, and in my head I'm going, Layla Blue, that's cute. Layla Van Sciver, I like that. Layla Blue Van Sciver, I really like this. So I just took my headphones off, turned around, and said, "What do you think about Layla Blue?" And he kind of did the same thing. He went, "Layla Blue Van Sciver, I like that." I said, "So should that be her name?" And he was like, "Yeah, I really like it." And I said, "Me too." And like that, we were just like, all right, that's her name. So we have a girl, her name's Layla Blue Van Sciver. And it turned out that we had a girl, which turned out to be a blessing because the boy name that we had picked, I didn't really like, but it was a family name and I was willing to give that to Jimmy, and now we've talked about it, and that's not the route we're gonna go if we have a boy. But yeah, so just that story was to say, we had a difficult time at first agreeing on names. And it was just kind of out of the blue that we came up with Layla's. Out of the blue. I didn't do that on purpose. So yeah, so we talk about names now, and a lot of the names on this list were just because Jimmy went, no. So let's cut to it, right? I have 5 girl names, 5 boy names. I'll start with girl names, really just because they're written first on my list. So the first name I have is a girl's name, and it's Scarlet. And I like it with the 2 T's, but it doesn't really matter to me. I love this name, and well, no, that's the only color name I have on there, but I love color names. And it kind of, like, I didn't intentionally want to do a theme, but now I kind of think it's cute if we have kids with all colors in their names. But Scarlet, I love the name. Jimmy actually really likes the name too. The problem is, before I met Jimmy, I was a nanny for 2 great little kids that I love, and the girl's name, her name was Scarlet Rose, and I don't see them anymore. They're not a part of my life anymore for circumstances that are out of my control, but I don't want to have a child and name her Scarlet and think of the other Scarlet, and it'll make me sad and stuff. So Scarlet has been nixed for a girl's name. The next girl's name I have is Cadence, and I really like the name Cadence. I like the fact that it's like a musical-ish name, and Jimmy always thinks of military cadence, so that's funny because he's obsessed with the military. But I can't use Cadence because Jimmy's cousin, who is also like his best friend, his cousin's fiance, that's on her list, and she keeps saying like they probably won't use it because Jimmy's cousin doesn't like it, but I know how people are, you know what I mean? So like there's a name on my list that I am still not 100% sure that we won't use because I might just work on Jimmy a little bit on it, but so I don't want to use Cadence. I don't want to take that away from her, just in case they have a girl one day, and just in case she's able to convince him to go with Cadence, because I know that's her favorite, her top on her girls list. The third girl's name I have is Ariana. I love the name Ariana, and I actually had this name picked way before I even met Jimmy. It just was like in high school, I came up, like heard it, and I loved it. And in fact, when I was with my ex-boyfriend, we had talked about if we had ever had a kid, we would name her Ariana, but like we never really had a serious conversation about it, so it's not like that's the reason why, although that is like a tiny bit a part of it. But funny story, Jimmy has a sister who I didn't know was his sister. We've been friends for a long time, but they're half siblings. So I had never known that he existed. You know, his sister had a child while I was with my ex-boyfriend, a little girl, and named her Ariana. And I remember meeting her going, like meeting the daughter going, I love the name Ariana, it's my baby name. And his sister had said to me, well, you can still use it. I don't care, you know, it's fine. If you ever have a girl, you can name her Ariana. That'll be cool. And then 3 years later, I meet her brother, and still not knowing they're related, and I start dating him, and then we get serious, and then I find out that that's actually his sister. And I didn't really think about the name thing until I got pregnant, and then I went, oh, I can't use my baby girl's name. And a lot of people were saying, like, go ahead, use it anyway, like, it doesn't matter. And I think they say that because in his family, a lot of people have the same name. There are like 4 people named Marc in his name. And I mean, in his family, there's like his cousin is named after their grandmother. So like, there's a lot of like name sharing, and I want to avoid that altogether. And it wouldn't be fair to my niece, Ariana, for her to have to share her name with her cousin. So while I love the name, it's still like one of my favorite girls' names. I won't use it, but I have an Ariana in my life, and she's like so sweet and so lovable, and I just like, I'm just happy that, you know, since I can't use the name, I have an Ariana. The 4th girl's name I have is Emmeline, or Emmeline, depending on how you want to pronounce it, but I like it Emmeline. And it's a really pretty name. I love it. I think it's so unique. I actually heard it on Sophia the First, because that's the Sophia's mother's name. And I was like, oh, I really like that. But I have a friend, and her daughter's name is Emily, and so I won't use Emmeline or Emmeline. It's just too close, you know? And then the last name I have is Isabella. I love the name Isabella, but Twilight came out, and I always liked the name Isabella, like way before Twilight even came out. And while that has died down a lot, I don't want people to think that that's what I named my daughter after. And I believe that someone in Jimmy's family just had a baby and named her Isabella or Isabel, and I think it's like a cousin, but not someone that we speak with that often, so that's why I can't remember. So again, don't want to use the name that another person in the family has. So that's it for the girls' names. And then on to the boys' names. The first name I have is Dylan. I love the name Dylan. It's been on my list for a long time. I think it's cute. I think it works for like a little boy and for an older adult. It's a very like masculine name when it needs to be, you know what I mean? But my best friend, her sister just had a baby and named him Dylan, so I'm not using anybody else's name. And it's not like she knew that it was on my list, because I have a long list and it's fine. After Dylan, it's similar, is Declan, and it's the same reason. I have another friend, a childhood friend. It's not like we're very, very close or anything, but she's a childhood friend, and she just had a son and named him Declan, and I love it for the same reason I love Dylan. But I'm glad somebody I know used it, because it's a very cute name. The third name I have, I really like this name. I really like where it comes from. I really think it's unique. But Jimmy was just nixed it right away. It was like, no, it sounds corny, and I think he's insane. But I guess it's too out there for him. Is actually Jarvis. I love it. It just, to me, it just sounds like who it is. If you don't know who Jarvis is the name of Iron Man's computer. You know, he has that artificial intelligence, I guess, computer named Jarvis, and he talks to Jarvis in the first movies and stuff, and I love it. And Jarvis is voiced by Paul Bettany, and so now whenever I hear the name Jarvis, I just think of like a little British kid, so I really like the idea of like having a son named Jarvis, and it probably would turn out better that we didn't name him Jarvis, because I would probably speak in a really horrible British accent to him like all the time, just walking around going like, Jarvis, please do what your mother says and put your toys away now. Like, I can't do accents, but that would be me, just kind of making fun of my child with a British accent, because that's what I think of when I hear the name Jarvis. But I love it. It's like a superhero name, but it's not like the hero's name, you know what I mean? It comes from the comic book world, but it's not actually a superhero, because then if you watched it, when Jarvis has like a human-ish form, he's Ultron. So Jarvis is a no. The fourth name I have, I never really thought about this name until I was with my friend Jamie, and her wife was pregnant with twins, and she was dying to name her son this, and her wife was just like, no, we're not using this name. But me and her were both obsessed with it, and it's Thaddeus. And the reason why I became obsessed with Thaddeus is because we had this image of like a cute little stuffed bear with like a vest and some glasses and like walking around, again, to me, I think British kid. And so I kept telling her, I'm like, you're gonna name your son Thaddeus, like his name's gonna be Thaddeus. How's Thaddeus doing? And her wife kept going, no, we're not naming him Thaddeus. And eventually she came up with a thing for Thaddeus that ruined the name that I'm not gonna say, but if you think about it really hard, you might be able to think of it. So she ruined Thaddeus for both of us. I still love it. I still picture just like that cute little boy, but Jimmy hates it anyway. And my friend, while she would love it if I still use the name, I think it's been kind of ruined for us, so we can't name our son Thaddeus. And then the last boy's name I have is my ultimate boy obsession. I've always loved this name. I've always wanted to use this name. Jimmy will not relent, but I'm still hoping. So while I say these are names I love but will not use, I'm still hoping I can one day convince him to let me use his name. In fact, I've almost named like a pet this name just so I could use the name, but I won't give in, and that's Oliver. I love the name Oliver. I know it's like becoming popular now, but I don't give a crap about that. Like, I just always have loved the name Oliver. I think it works for a little boy. I think it's just like so cute. I see like a little redhead boy, even though I would never have a redhead because I'm not a redhead and Jimmy's not a redhead. But I just like picture this cute little boy like running around and calling him Oliver, and I think it goes so well with Layla, like Layla and Oliver. I obsess over it. And I don't know why, I just love the name. And Jimmy won't relent, and that's because he had the job when we first got together. He was working in this furniture place, and one of his coworkers' name was Oliver, and he says that Oliver was a jerk. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but if I'm gonna push a watermelon-sized baby out of my vagina, I want to be able to use the name that I want. So I still try and play that card. If Jimmy really, really means it, like really is just like, no, I really don't want to have to live my life with a son named Oliver because I'll just keep thinking that, then I will like let it go. But I think Jimmy's swayable on it, especially because it's been like 5 years since he worked with that guy. So it's my top boy name other than the one I have picked if we ever have a son. But who knows if Jimmy will let me use it. If not, I'll have to wait, and I'll have to get like a dog or a cat and name him Oliver. And then I have one more. It's a set that is similar, so it's like my wild card name. So it's a boy name and a girl. Like, it's not a unisex name, but it's the boy version and the girl version. They're very similar, and that's Landon and London. I love those names. I do have a friend on Facebook whose son's name is Landon, but we're not really, we're like acquaintances, you know, we know each other through other circumstances. So I don't think she would be upset if I used that name. I don't know, I haven't asked her. But Jimmy doesn't like Landon, really. It's a little too out there for him. And London, he just keeps saying no to. I love the name London. I think it's so cute and so sweet on a little girl. And I don't know, I love London, like the city. I've been there when I was in high school, so for me, I just think of like the good times that I had there and how fun it is. But again, Jimmy said no. So, you know, who knows? Maybe if I really wanted it bad enough, I could sway him on it. But it's not something I love enough to really fight for. So those are the 12 baby names that I love, but won't be using, maybe-ish, if we get our, well, not if, when we get our big fat positive. And then, yeah. If you like these names, let me know. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Tell me what your top picks for baby names are, and tell me what, like, the strangest baby name obsession you have is. Like, if you really like the name, but you think a lot of people will think it's crazy. Like, I want to know those names because I love it. Like, I once saw someone online who wanted to name her son Fox, and people, like, went nuts and were like, no, that's a horrible name. And this was 5 years ago, and now people, like, love it. So tell me what, like, your baby name obsessions are. You could give me a whole list. I don't care. I love baby names, so let's talk baby names, okay? So yeah, follow me on Instagram. You know all the spiel. I'm not even gonna bother with it, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye! Sorry. I don't know what's up with me.